Hi, I'm Tim Moss with Custom Guns, Ammo, and Repairs. Today I want to take a look at this 50 BMG. So we got this into the shop. It's a Bushmaster 50 BMG, and the problem that they were having was it was shooting 8-inch groups, which you guys know about shooting 8-inch groups is horrendous, especially for a 50. You know, it's a long-range shooter and it's grouping 8 inches at 100 yards. That's terrible. And then the other thing, and I think that's part of the big groups, but not 100% because of it, it was shooting like every other shot, or maybe every third shot. Then maybe 3 shots would go off and then it wouldn't fire at all. So, you know, the owner was developing a big flinch because he never knew when the thing was going to go off. So the first thing we had to do is figure out why this gun wouldn't shoot. And then once we got it shooting right, you know, corrected that problem, get it where it was shooting a lot better than 8-inch groups. So this gun owner of this Bushmaster 50 BMG, he was having the problem of an 8-inch group. I mean, every time, consistently shot 8 inches. That was with factory ammo. And it wouldn't fire consistently. You know, sometimes it was every other shot, sometimes it was every third shot, sometimes it'd shoot 3 shots, and then it would, you know, the gun would go off when he pulled the trigger. So at that point, it was sent back to the factory. So most of you gun guys know what happened to Bushmaster. The big lawsuit. What they got the gun, they sent it back, said there was nothing wrong with it, and then after that happened, they folded. So at that point, I got this gun. So what we did was, you know, took it to the range. We duplicated the 8-inch group. It was shooting 8 inches, and it wasn't just because of the flinch. It was, you know, it was bad grouping, and it was not going off consistently. So after a lot of thought, study, and experimentation, what we found out is, now this is the firing pin. And you can see this is kind of a fancy firing pin. You know, most guns, you can fabricate a fire pin real easy. So what we found out is, after a little bit of experimentation, is that this firing pin is just a little too short. So we were thinking, okay, we're gonna have to fabricate the whole thing, and then we got the idea of, well, why don't, instead of fabricating all this complicated stuff, why don't we cut this firing pin off here and we'll just make this end, which is very easy to make. And then we silver soldered it back together. So now this gun goes off every single time. Every time you pull the trigger and there's a cartridge in there, it goes bang just the way it's supposed to. So there's no flinching going on. You're not having to wonder, does it go off? So we took it to the range. We still had the 8-inch group. It went off every time. We had the 8-inch group. So then we next had to figure out, okay, why do we have the 8-inch group? So some of the typical things that we do was we check the scope, we check the mounts. You know, we'll take this completely off and we'll take a scope that we know is true and give it a try. Still the 8-inch groups. So the next step is, let's try a custom load. We were using factory ammo. So we experimented with a bunch of different custom loads, and what we finally came up with, we used all kinds of cases. We got these cases, the brass came from Israel. We got the bullets as 750 grain AMAX bullets. And you guys that shoot a lot already know it. You guys that don't, this is who I'm telling to the benefit of. When you put your bullet in the chamber, there's a distance between your lands and grooves and the ends of your bullet before it engages the rifling. So what we did is experiment with the different lengths, you know, so that this was closer and closer to the lands. And the closer it got to the lands and grooves, the tighter the grooves. So we finally stopped when we were getting like a 1/2-inch groove. It was like one big bullet hole. So it took experimentation, but we got this thing shooting the way that it's supposed to shoot. And what we want to do is in a few minutes, we'll go out to the range and we'll see if it's shooting as good as I think we have it fixed to shoot. A few minutes ago I told you that we made our own bullets. We made custom bullets to go in the 50 BMG, and this is what we do that on. It's not a fancy press. You see, you got to pull the handle down. It's not automated, and it's staged, so you have multi-stages going here. But you make them one at a time. It's not fancy, but it's sturdy. It's a Dillon 50 BMG press, but we make each of these 50 BMGs by hand, and we can do the same thing for your gun. you know, you have a 50 BMG that's not shooting right and you need to get your bullets precisely dialed in, we can do that. Just give us your 50 BMG and we can work out what we need to do to make the bullets to give you a tight, nice, accurate group. So we're down at the range now. This is the 50 BMG Bushmaster. This is the one that we got in. It turned out the firing pin was too short, so we fixed the firing pin. And it groups about 8 inches. So we made some custom shells for it. If you guys looking at this, if you say, hey, that looks a little long, you're absolutely right, it is a little long. We found that this shoots best when you feed the shells individually. These won't go in the magazine. Feed it individually and we get our tightest groups. Now we have others made that can go in the magazine, so you know, if the customer wants to use the magazines, that's fine. Or if he wants to just see how good it shoots, you know, he's shooting long range and wants his best group, then he's got these that they're a little out of factory spec, just a hair longer. So we're going to load this up, take 3 shots and see what kind of group we have. When we got it, it was grouping 8 inches, so we'll see what we did to it and if it worked. So this 50 BMG was shooting 8-inch groups, and you can see our three-shot group here. Took my calipers to it. It's 1.25. You subtract the 1/2 inch for the 50, you got a 3/4 inch group. So I did a 3/4 inch group today. I think that's me. The gun does better than that, but that is a big improvement from an 8-inch group. So if you have a gun that you need accurized, we can do the same thing for you guys. Give us a call at 336-655-7631. Thanks.